knowledge. I have 3 of my brothers and sisters here to help with the welcome and the prayer. We love to pray before each of our events and have God shine on us so that we can actually inspire and make the world a better place to live. So this vision and mission was thought of by the 4 of us, and it is to educate and share historical leaders as well as current leaders that are doing great things in the world to make the world better, and to put some light on them and have people see that there is hope, and have people learn more about this month. Every single person in the world should learn more about Black History Month, because the more you know, the more you're able to have gratitude and learn that we need to be together to make this planet work. So I'd like to turn over to Dr. Roz, Dr. Smile, my sister, to give the prayer, and then we're going to go round robin so each of you get to meet and hear these leaders that help us.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Father God, in Jesus' name, we thank you for raising Black leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge for such a time as this. Clothe us with your wisdom, anchor us in integrity, and fill us with fearless faith. Let our voices carry truth, our actions reflect justice, and our lives reveal your glory. Strengthen our minds, steady our hearts, and establish our steps as we love and lead, serve with humility, and walk in kingdom authority. We declare we are empowered, equipped, and appointed for impact. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. And why don't we turn over to Dr. Breakthrough, Dr. Stan. Thank you, Dr. Stan. The reason you are here is because we all would not be here if it wasn't for the gracious connections you make unconditionally every single day to people, including myself. So thank you for all the introductions you've made to make these programs more successful.
Hey, man. Well, thank you, man. It's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. Appreciate you. And again, anything that God does through me, I'm just so grateful. And I tell people all the time, I was a nobody, but he made me into a somebody. And now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more through anybody. And that's what this is all about. 100th anniversary. It was 1926 when Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week. And then 1976 when it started as Black History Month. So this is the 100th anniversary of this celebrating. And again, the scripture is clear. He that despises his neighbor is because of a lack of wisdom. And so when we're educating, not just, ourselves, but everybody else, I mean, we all can look at people as who they are, not judgmental, not preconceived notions. And so that's what's powerful. So again, thank you, each and every one of you for spearheading this. And thank you who are watching. And by the way, we need you to spread the message. Let people know this is powerful. It's practical, and it's designed with your education and your empowerment in mind. So I close with this, and that is, they used to say that you're a product of your environment. And I was like, that's part right, but actually you're a product of your empowerment is what I say. And so we can change our empowerment by being part of this Black Hour of Power every day. By the way, Doc, the other day I was in tears just seeing people honoring other people that are so powerful. Unlike the crab in a bucket, one crab's trying to get out and they pull him back down. No, you're producing a reverse crab in a bucket. We're like saying, hey, Dr. Cassandra, you're doing good, but you can do even better. Go ahead, Tanisha, you got this, girl. Go ahead, Dr. Smile. Go ahead, Dr. Smiling. And so thank you again, and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And finally, I'd like to have the voice of our director of events, who has a very, very big shoes to fill. She does all these events. We have over 300 events in February, and I don't know how we do without her. The Smile Channel rejoices because of her smile and her spirit. Thank you, Tanisha.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Smiley, for this vision and allowing me to participate and be a part of the execution of it all. We're excited about so many people being illuminated in this month. There is such a great opportunity. And the wonderful thing is that you still have time to participate. You still have time to share about the leader, the Black leader that is influencing and impacting you. So make sure you go into the comments and click the link where you can sign up to be a part of this Bold Leaders of Authority, Courage, and Knowledge. It is going on every single day in February, every single day for just 1 hour. 1 hour for you to share about the leader you know, and 1 hour for you to learn about leaders that you have not even heard of yet. I've already been reminded of some people that I had forgotten about, and been encouraged about some people that I was like, oh, I forgot they did that. Oh, I never heard of them. And so if you want to learn something new, if you want to be a part of someone else learning something new, then this is a great opportunity for you. And even more so, share it on your socials, share it on your email list. Listen, copy the link and put it in your email list and blast it out for Black History Month, because we want you to be a part. So we thank you for supporting, and we look forward to bigger and better.
Well, I have a surprise for the three of you, because there are so many people we can speak about. And this month is actually taught me a lot about how people are ticking, like how they're inspired. But gratitude is when you actually share how someone touched your life. And I want to share this because there are not enough days in the month for me to speak about the people I would like to speak. But if anyone would like this list of 200 amazing, inspiring leaders, I am going to be speaking about several of them. But this list is available to you. It gives you ideas of who you can speak about. And there are 200, and I will whip through this a little quicker here. And you can have this absolutely for free. And please nominate somebody who wants to speak about a leader if it's not you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Black History Month, Hour of Power.
Thank you guys so much for having me. First of all, my name is Trey Goodman. It's an absolute honor to be here as you guys' host. Thank you, like I said, from Miss Tanisha and Dr. Smile. I'm just meeting all of you, but even just the words that you were speaking and how profound it is, man, I'm just elated to be here on this call around a great group of people. So a little bit about me. My name is Trey Goodman. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised there. A very athletic background where I grew up. My family always had me around sports. They always had me hanging out with friends. They always had me outdoors in that way. Now, I don't know if it was a way to see what my loves were and see what I enjoyed, or if it was me just trying to, get for them to get me out of their hair. But either way, one way or another, I found a love for sports, and that has become a lot of the things that I do. But the big thing that I want to focus on is that it's not my identity, right? It's what I do, but it's not who I am. Who I am is a follower of Jesus, and my identity is in Christ and Christ alone. So I was recruited out of high school to play at Austin Peay State University for 3 years there, right outside of Clarksville, or right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in Clarksville, Tennessee. I was there for 3 years, played there, won a few championships, and I transferred to University of Texas of El Paso, where I played my senior year there, and then I was able to blessed to go play professional football for a brief amount of time for the Bay Area Panthers in the Indoor Football League. And so the biggest thing in my time of playing sports over all of the years that I've been playing since I was 5. So coming up on 17 years now, 17, 18 years. There's nothing in life that the game of football or the game of, or just competition in general, will not teach you, right? So obviously, as someone who is around the game, who's around sports, who's around competition very often, I am going to push team aspects and competitions in those ways because I believe that they bring the best out of you. They knock you down, they pick you back up, they teach you how to work with others, right? Just like in life, all those tools are necessary to life. So one of the big coaches, one of the people that I wanted to speak on is actually one of my receiver coaches. Now, as I was contemplating to myself, I was like, man, I don't know who I should talk about. There are a lot of people that I could, there are historical figures, there are a lot of role models, people here and there. There's a litany of African American Black individuals who have had a lot of impact. But for me, it was, and I talked to myself and I prayed about, I'm like, man, who do I want to talk about? I want to talk about someone who impacted me personally and someone that I know and someone that knows me intimately. So the person that I chose, his name is Emmanuel Lanier Sampson. He goes by Lanier Sampson. He was a college football. He played football. He was a college football player going into. He played at the University of Baylor or Baylor University, and then went on to play as a wide receiver for the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, in all of those things, they're all very cool, right? They're all very enlightening. It's encouraging. But out of all of those things that he was, all of his titles, the number one thing that he took pride in the most was not so much of what he had done, but pouring out into others. And so he was my receiver coach for 2 years. He was my receiver coach for 2 years. And the biggest thing that I wanted to um, testify on how he spoke to me and pour out to you guys is the idea of process over results. Now, naturally, for the first time when he said that, I was like, I don't know what process over results means. I'm like, this is some this is some dude just saying some phrase that I'm too young to understand. And truthfully, I was, but now I do. And I really do appreciate him for the way that he poured into me. Now, so this idea of process over results, it essentially just means that in this life, right? All of us know in this life, we are going to have trials, we're going to have tribulations, things are not going to go our way. At the end of the day, does your faith or your work ethic or your approach change based off of the result? Right? Because if your work ethic and the way you approach things changes based off of the result, then it's really not faith. Right? Faith is having that belief no matter what. Faith is being able to come to work this day, say, hey, I have faith that if I want it to change, it will. Right? If it is God's will for me, then I believe and I have faith for him that he will move that for me. And then for me, the way that applied in my life is, as I was getting ready to play professional football, a lot of times, man, I found myself in this place of comparison. I found myself in this place of comparison. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm a better player than this person. I feel like I'm more coachable than this person. I feel like I've gotten to the point where it's like, man, why not me? Why not me? And I was in this affliction. I was in this point of being frustrated. I was deflecting. I was angry. There was a lot of negative emotions that were stirred up within me because of everything that was going on around me. And I was in the middle of a storm. And so, um, just like any other time, which I don't do a great job of, but I need to do better job of. But in that moment, I was like, there's nothing that can make this better except for seeking Jesus' face. And so I was reading this book, and one of the verses in that book that really resonated with me, and the revelation I got was Romans 5:3, that we would boast in our affliction, knowing that affliction produces endurance, endurance character, and character hope. Now, in my head, I'm like, boastful in affliction. Like, God is sitting here, like the Bible is telling me to be excited that things aren't going my way. Yes, 100%. Because like I was saying, in life, like not everything's gonna go our way, right? But that perseverance and that pushing through, whether that's you not being able to get the job you want, whether that's you not having the vehicle or a car, or you get into I don't know, not the greatest relationship with friends, or you're going back and forth with family members, even through that affliction, whatever it is, like we're all human and we all face trials. There are times where we're in the valleys, there are times where we're up on top of the mountains. But in those moments, I absolutely implore everyone, from what Coach Lanier Sampson taught me, is that same way as that man. When you're in the depths of the depth, when you're in the depths of the deep, when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're exhausted, when you're fatigued, all these things, and you feel like you can't give anymore, just push through one day at a time. Be boastful in that affliction and believe in your process over your results, right? That your approach doesn't change based off of your circumstances. Your approach doesn't change based off of what you have going on around you, right? That process over results idea. And then the biggest thing that resonated with me is that, like, this principle is something that I'm actively practicing each day. Like even today, I'm a strength and conditioning coach right now, and the I came to work today, and the kids, they were, being kids. They were being middle school, high school kids, and I had an opportunity throughout the day where I could have acted out of frustration and been mad and saying, "Hey, I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm not playing professional football." But no, I was boastful in that affliction. I'm saying, "This is building my endurance. This is building my character, and this is building my hope." So to conclude, okay, Coach Sampson, and he really instilled that idea of working hard through any circumstance and being grounded in the storm. And that has resonated with me, and it continues to live through me in my life each and every day. So with that being said, next up, we are going to have Dr. Robin Sharer to come on, and she will introduce herself and introduce who she will be speaking about. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful presentation. Greetings, everyone. First, I want to take a moment to honor this platform and the visionaries behind it. Thank you to the host and the entire bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge, Hour of Power family for creating a space where history is honored and our voices are amplified. I am humbled and grateful to be in this moment with you today. Now that I've gotten all that protocol out of the way, I would like to start off with a series of questions. Nothing daunting, but how many of you have ever been excited about receiving something in the mail? A package, an important letter, maybe an unexpected check? Anticipation and expectation builds. And now that we have technology, we can even track our packages right to our front door. Now, stay with me because I'm going somewhere. I want you to go with me on a mail run because I'm talking about packages, right? I'm talking about an MAIL run, not an MALE run, but an MAIL run. If you will, let's travel. I want you to go back with me to World War II, actually, around 1939, 1945, not only to reflect on World War II, but also being outside of the country. Imagine you're having to go outside of the country. You arrive at another country where you go into this facility, you go into this warehouse, it's dirty, it's grimy. And this warehouse is in Birmingham, England, right? Not Birmingham, Alabama, but Birmingham, England. All right. When you arrive there, you open up this steel, crusty, rusty door that's making a lot of screeching noise. There's cobwebs, there's rodents, there's rat feces all around. And buried underneath of all of that, buried underneath of that is something very significant. It is 7 million pieces of undelivered mail. Yes, 700 pieces, 7 million pieces, excuse me, of undelivered mail. Some of this mail had been in this facility for over 2 years. I think you know who I'm going to be speaking about. The 6888, the 6888 Central Postal Directorate Division Battalion. In February of 1945, approximately 855 African American women, yes, African American women, members of the Women's Army Corps, known as the WACs, they shipped out across the Atlantic Ocean. They were led by an African American woman by the name of Major Charity Adams. She was the highest ranking African American woman in the military at that time. These women, they ranged in age, background, geographical location, but they shared one thing in common. They refused to let anyone define the limits of their contributions. When they arrived in Birmingham, England, they arrived and they inherited a impossible task. They had to sort through and figure out how to deliver a backlog of 7 million pieces of undelivered mail intended for our American troops stationed across the European theater. No one had been able to crack this. No one had been able to do this. But the 6888, they did this in 3 months. Yes, the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion was the only all-Black, all-female battalion to serve overseas during World War II. And let that settle in for a moment. They were the only one. They worked around the clock, 3 8-hour shifts every single day in a cold, rat-infested warehouse with poor lighting, no lighting, operating under a motto that carried them through. They understood the assignment in the room. They understood. They said no mail, no MAIL, no morale. They understood that a letter from home was not just a letter, but it was hope, it was connection, it was love. And it made a difference to the soldiers and it made a difference to the family. Can you imagine right now when you try to connect with one of your loved ones or friends and we have the opportunity to text them, we have the opportunity to call them, but when they don't pick up, what happens? We get frantic, right? We want to know where you are. We even have it where we can track each other on our phones. But during this time, that was not anything that was happening. But here it is. We have these 855 African American women. They face not only one enemy, not two enemies, not three enemies, so many more. They face the dangers of being in a war-ridden country. They face the racism of being in a segregated military. They question their capability, and they also face the sexism of a system that had never made room for them in the first place. And at the head, again, was Major Charity Adams. She was questioned by a general that told her that if you cannot do this task, we're going to bring white soldiers in to do it. But what did Major Charity do? Her name, Charity, means love. They were not in February 1945. That is the month of love. Here we are in February, Black History Month. And she said, she stood flat footed and she told him, she said, this task is not insurmountable for me. She said, this task is going to be done. And it's going to be done. Not only that, but it's going to be done over my dead body, sir. And so she put some respect on it. She told him, listen, you're telling me that the mission is impossible, but I'm telling you that this mission, it is possible. And this directorate, this battalion, in 3 months, they not only sorted the mail, but they incorporated a system, a mail system that still stands today that helps soldiers that are overseas. I am a retired military service member, over 22 years in the Army. I'm also a retired Department of the Army civilian who worked overseas multiple times. And the reason why I was able to get my mail and others was because of them. I am, again, in this moment, and I reflect upon that because before the story was told on Netflix by Tyler Perry, the story was already in my heart. Because as a veteran, I understood the importance of receiving mail. I understood the importance of being present. I understood the importance of being an ambassador, someone who was called to do the work. So as I get ready to go into my conclusion, I open by telling you about a warehouse full of undeliverable mail. I want to close by telling you this. Those letters did get delivered, every single one of them, against every odd, past every obstacle, through every shift of a woman who refused to stop until the work was done. We have come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. And because of the African American women and men who came before us, we don't have to walk this road alone. Their footprints are already in the ground. We are simply being faithful enough to follow them and bold enough to forge new paths for those that are coming behind us. The world is waiting on what you and I can deliver. Let's deliver the mail. Let's make it a mission possible. God bless you. And I turn it back over to our host. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Robin. That message definitely was delivered to me. Man, I felt like you were speaking straight to me. That was powerful, and it's great to know that there's so much that I have to learn, and especially as someone who is from a younger crowd, just being able to soak up all this knowledge that you guys come and deliver here. Just can't say thank you enough, and a really good job delivering that mail to us. Awesome job. Next up, we're going to have Coach Zeke Took coming on to speak. He'll introduce himself and then introduce his public figure as well. Coach Zeke, come on in.
Thank you, Trey. I appreciate you. Yes, my name is Coach Zeke. There are a lot of figures that, come to mind. There's not enough time in a month to actually pay homage and respect to all the different people who have been an inspiration and an influence on me as a person. But I want to speak of someone today who is a little less known, and I want to kind of like shine a light on this person in an effort to honor all those people who might be a little bit lesser known and unsung, as it pertains to the inspiration, the change that they're affecting in the world. So the person I want to speak of came from a small village in Nigeria called Obiarakum. It's in Delta State in Nigeria in Africa. And before I even speak about him in person, I want people to understand the idea that we here in America are blessed in in some ways. And that blessing can be a curse in the sense that we have the luxury of not having our dreams shaped by poverty and limitation in ways that other people might. And so when you're a small child growing up in Africa, oftentimes your imagination is limited by what you can see in front of you. It's limited by what is, manifest in front of your eyes. And therefore, this person I want to speak of dreamt of a day where he could come and serve people overseas in America. He grew up to a small family with two sisters and never knew his father. Father passed away when he was about 2 years old. So he had just his mom and his two sisters, and he spent a lot of time with them and having them shape who he would become. He eventually would become a scholar and eventually played soccer for the national team over there in Nigeria, which in and of itself was a bar that most people wouldn't dare to reach. But he had something more. He had something more that he wanted to give. And so after going to nursing school there, he came to America and became a nurse in the United States and eventually attended Thomas Jefferson Medical School in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, and became a surgeon. And for any child who has grown up in Africa, that in and of itself is a victory to be able to achieve that. However, this person, he decided that that wasn't enough and that he wanted to be a person who carried the burden of the people who came before him and the people back home from which he came. And so he became a person who would reach back, and over the course of his lifetime, he would sponsor over 50 doctors and nurses, or people who would eventually become doctors and nurses here in the United States. That man's name is Dr. Casey Moses Tuke. I was privileged to get to see this man in action. And I used to always wonder, like, what motivated him to reach back. There were times when in his own personal life and watching things around, you would see that he didn't have everything. He didn't have all the comforts of life. He didn't have the luxury that you might think a doctor might have. And yet he would still reach back and sacrifice and give to people who were not in his presence. And I remember one day I asked the man, I said, why do you do this when you have all these things over here that you could have, when you could choose a lifestyle that might be something that is covetous, something that you might want and enjoy life? And he said, because he got here on the backs of those people who came before him and on the backs of those people who supported him from back home. So no matter where he went, he could not forget them. In that time, sponsoring over 50 different nurses and doctors from that area, the Indokwa region in Nigeria, he still decided it wasn't enough. He created organizations over here. He's founded the first Indokwa Association in America, where they now had a group of people who all were in the energy and of the mindset of giving back to those people who came before them. And now there are over 11 chapters of that organization that he founded in the United States of America. And they've brought over hundreds now of doctors, hundreds of nurses, hundreds of people working in engineering and lawyers and so on and so forth to come here to this country. Because at the end of the day, he decided that creating a path and inspiration for himself was great. Creating a path for himself to help others was even greater. And what was greatest was creating a path for himself and others to create a path for others as well. And in that case, and in that way, he multiplied his blessings onto others. And he was able to have many people changed the fortunes of their families and of the entire region in Africa that he came from. And it's something that can't be stated enough in terms of what we live in today and the times that we live in, and being able to be in service to one another in a way that, you know, doesn't always feel comfortable. You know, I always say that, you know, you find out just how much someone loves you when things are down. It's easy to say I love you when, you know, there's money in the bank and everybody's healthy and things are great. But, you know, when the weather's bad, you know, when times get rough, you know, you get to see just how much you are loved, and you get to see the sacrifice that people are willing to make for you. And the people who are willing to do that, they deserve to be acknowledged. They deserve to be spoken about, you know, to have their name said out loud so that maybe, just maybe, it can inspire the next person along to do the same. So watching that man, I grew up understanding the power and the importance of being able to look behind and be able to reach my hand back and help those who I build my life on the backs of: their service, their support, the energy that they give me, the ones who root me on, you know, the ones who look at me and start to conceive of a life that they might want to live. I was lucky enough to know this man. He built community centers back home in Africa. He began to consult on medical policy in the country to change the medical system that these people were able to now be a part of, that would give them better medical assistance, give them better services, give them a situation where they didn't have to be afraid when they go to the hospital on whether they were going to come back home or not. When this man passed away, I went back to Nigeria, to his village, and I was able to talk to people he spoke to, the men who he communed with, you know, and the things that I was able to hear after, you know, his death really enlightened what his contribution meant to the community. I was able to be there at his funeral when the town that he grew up in shut down and the people lined the streets in a procession. All businesses closed. And they were shouting praises to the good doctor. It was quite emotional. But it showed me something. Showed me something about the man that I wanted to be. I was proud to know this man. I was proud to share space and time with him. I was proud to be influenced and inspired by him. And I am also proud to call that man my dad. I want to take this time just to wrap up and say, everybody I know has the ability to do something really powerful. And the only thing you need to do in order to do that powerful thing is do what you can and let the universe take care of the rest. That's what Dr. Casey Moses 2K did. I thank you for your time.
Man, that's strong. That's strong. I appreciate it. First of all, Coach Zeke, I want to apologize for my mispronunciation of your last name. It's not Took. It's Coach Zeke 2K. Coach 2K. Thank you so much, Coach 2K. The word that popped in my head is legacy. As I'm listening to you, I just hear legacy. That's the word that pops into my head. Strong, empowering. Thank you so much. All right, transitioning up into our next speaker, we have Mr. John Burris. John Burris will be speaking. Well, I won't steal his thunder. We'll let him introduce himself and who he's speaking of. But John, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead, hop in, man.
All good, all good. Extremely blessed to be able to share this space with so many great speakers to talk about something so meaningful. My name is John Burris III, former Division I athlete at the University of Texas at El Paso. There, I played with Trey, the host. We had great times together. I'm currently at Morgan State University pursuing my master's degree in higher education and student affairs. I won't be before you all long today, but if I could share one of the many stories about my great role models, I don't have to look any further than my parents, John Burris and Debbie Burris. My father originally from Hammond, Louisiana. My mother originally from East Texas. Both respectfully from the country, but decided to settle in the city. And my role models aren't famous. They aren't on television. They don't have a big following on social media, but they are the reason why I walk the way I walk and I talk the way I talk and stand for something because they stood faithfully. From them, I saw work ethic. I saw sacrifices. I saw faith. I saw what it looks like to walk in unity and purpose, to represent things well in all things. And I'm reminded of a story as I look back over my life. Um, I experienced success on the field. I had the crowd yays at the time, and I was fighting my way to be the starter. And I had the support of my parents, but off the field, we faced a financial hardship, something that we never saw coming, and it was the heaviness of uncertainty that I had to watch my parents go through. But God gave them strength, and I saw them get down on their knees, and I saw them pray to the situation, and that saw them through. To go to work and to find ways to still be supportive for them children, to go to church, to find a way to keep the joy in the midst of everything was so profound to me. And I'm still finding the words for it, but I'm just so grateful that I was able to see that. They don't know this, but they will now after they look at the live stream that I took a picture of them one day during the hardship. In the picture, they were bowed on their knees right before they took us to school. And that representation showed me resiliency, it showed me love, it showed me faith, it showed me how to stand during a tough time and trusting that God can make a way. How to stand during the storm was the question that I saw. And so when I went off to college and I went 12 hours away, I experienced my own storm. I experienced things that I never thought I would experience, but I took it to God in prayer just like them. And God spoke to me one time and he told me Isaiah 40:31. He said, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be worried. They shall walk and not faint. So when I had questions about my playing time, when pressure and leadership arose, when I didn't have the best academic performance, I needed to know 12 hours away that I needed my faith. I needed the work ethic. I needed integrity. And I saw that from my influences. Because of them, everything I built is an extension of what they built in me. And understanding that I represent more than just myself, but the village, and most importantly, God. Thank you for your time.
Wow, man. John, that was strong, man. That was really strong. I'm over here tearing up. I gotta wipe my face before I get back on camera. Get me emotional, man. And that transparency is just so it's just so powerful, man. Just to know that look, I ain't got it, but I know a guy who does. All right. And being able to
Yeah.
say, have the humility to say, look, even as your parents, have the humility to say, we ain't got it, but we know a guy who does. And for you to see that and model that, man, I've been using this word a lot, but it's the truth, man. It's just empowering and it lifts me up, even as someone who's, because I'm gonna face trials and tribulations and continue to, man. I just thank you so much. Very well done. Very well
Thank you,
delivered,
brother.
brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next up, we have Miss Nikki Cruz coming on to speak. Nikki, if you join us and go ahead, get started.
Thank you so much. And what an honor to be here. I am tearing up as much as anybody else. And if you know me, you know I am the joy junkie, the Jesus freak, but it wasn't always that way. I didn't always have that joy. You see, as a young white South African woman, there were times when I was very unsure of who I was. And even though I was training those people who had been brought back from exile, I still wondered if I was seen. My inspiration that I want to talk to you about today, I'm sure you're all familiar with the name, is Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. He lived from 1918 to 2013, but he spent 27 years of his life in prison and then became president of South Africa in 1994. But before he became president, after being released from prison, which he came out of without bitterness and hardness, he was walking into a building one day that I was standing on the outside of. And his security guards were barreling towards me in front of him, and he stepped out from behind them. Needless to say, they looked irritated at the risk he was putting himself in, because at that stage, you have to understand the culture. There was so much friction between black and white. And I was standing there in a place that wasn't recommended, definitely not for a young white South African woman, outside the ANC building. And yet this man walked towards me, reached out his hand, and said, "Are you visiting us today?" When I told him I was training, his face lit up with the biggest smile you can imagine. His teeth shone and his eyes filled with gratitude. And he said, "Thank you so much." You know, this is what was so incredible about Nelson Mandela. His authority came from what he carried inside, because even though he had spent all those many years in prison, he could have come out hard and bitter, but he came out instead wanting to build reconciliation. And he taught the world that reconciliation is not weakness, it's strength. And I so much love the honesty of his journey, because as a young man, when he started, he didn't want to connect and have unity with other political parties. He began staunchly independent in his ideas until he saw the power of alliance and unity. And he changed his mind. And when you've been in that place where the world, and in South Africa, that was the world, is against you, you learn to trust your own. But he didn't stay there at all. So when he partnered with people who said South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white, he began to see that it wasn't just a strength that you saw in unity, but it's a moral truth. And that day I saw that up close. When I looked into those eyes as he gently held my hand, and I saw the peace. You see, Nelson Mandela didn't live and pronounce himself as a president that changed the world. He changed the world because he changed from within. He changed his heart first. And, you know, in that space where I stood there, still wondering, am I seen? Who am I? When he stepped out and met me person to person, not collecting a picture for the cameras, even though I wasn't on a platform or being awarded something, I was just another person, very unlike him. And this was his strength. He reached out and met me person to person. And his choice to recognize me, even as a stranger, rearranged my understanding of leadership more than 100 lectures ever could have done. And that space echoed God's message to me. You are seen. Everyone is seen. And another thing that Nelson Mandela said that has always stayed with me is that no one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. That is the curriculum of leadership. And I carry that with me because it calls me to keep growing, to let my convictions be strong and my circles widen. We teach love by practicing it, and we build bridges by crossing them first. Use your authority to dignify others and lead so that people feel seen. He showed the world that unity is strength, and he lived that unity. It didn't come from making himself large. His authority came from making room for others. And he once said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And courage is what keeps authority honest. His courage looked like stepping towards people, sometimes people very unlike himself, sometimes people who had inflicted great harm on him. because unity demands presence, not just principles. And you see, knowledge is more than information. It's wisdom that understands that every person matters. What still comforts me to this day is that even after years of turmoil, years of leadership, he rebuilt joy in his family. And he died married to Graça Michelle, Grace. And it comforts me so much to know that a man who suffered so much could die at peace, still choosing grace. And know that he died close to the same grace that he offered the world. You know, you can read a great deal about Nelson Mandela in his autobiography, A Long Road to Freedom. And these things I've shared with you are only a few of the things that are reasons why he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. It wasn't for winning a war, it was for preventing one. His personality, his character, his principles are what spoke to me, not the fact that he was a president. And I so appreciate that I got to share how he impacted me. How are your leaders impacting you? So I stand here today to promise to keep widening my circle the way he did. And my commitment is to lead and pause for others so that people don't just hear our titles, but they feel seen and heard. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my hero, Nelson Mandela.
Thank you, Nikki. That was amazing. That was extremely uplifting. I didn't realize that you got to meet him firsthand. That's amazing. That's actually, as someone who's across the screen with you, like this is, I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my gosh, she met Nelson Mandela. She was discipled to by Nelson Mandela, and it's just something that you just can't mimic, right? That firsthand experience and the way that you distributed it to us is very uplifting and something that will fuel me for the rest of the day and the days going forward. I've been convicted, actually. I need to, as a leader in my community, I need to start prioritizing unity more, especially in my position. And so I will take that from what you said and I will run with it. So thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Kermit C. Burns. Kermit C. Burns will be coming on to speak. And with a few guests after that. Kermit, if you're here, go ahead and get started. Introduce yourself and your guests, and you can get going.
Thank you, Trey. I appreciate you. And what an amazing presentation by Nikki. Wow, that was really good. It's hard to hard to follow, but I'm gonna try. Uh, Love over hate always. Well, my name is Kermit C. Burns. I was raised as an Air Force brat in Guam, raised in diverse communities in California, Louisiana, which really shaped the man who I was to become. I'm an award-winning SAG-AFTRA actor, photographer, writer, and creator. I've been studying acting and photography for almost 3 decades. I have credits in numerous plays, TV shows, and films such as A Soldier's Play, Queen Sugar, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and the Oscar-winning film Green Book. I'm currently working on an animated series called Black Coffee, in which I wrote and star in, and will be in an upcoming episode of the award-winning TV series The Pit on HBO and Max. And next, I'll be playing 4 characters in the play Colored People's Time, presented by the Roby Theater Company. But I'm not here to talk about me today. I'm here to give flowers to a man named Ben Guillory. So, what is acting? Acting is the human soul receiving its birth through art. Quoted by Ben Guillory. Ben Guillory is the producing artistic director and co-founder of the Roby Theater Company. The Roby Theater Company is the longest running and most award-winning African-American led theater company in Los Angeles, entering into its 32nd year. Founded by Ben Guillory and Danny Glover in 1994, the Roby Theater Company's mission is to foster a community of artists whose purpose is to develop and produce plays written about the global experience. Ben and Danny decided to name the theater company after Paul Robeson, Roby being his college nickname. Robeson was an athlete, artist, attorney, singer, actor, activist, and global star, the most famous entertainer in the world during his heyday of the 20s and 30s. So it's only natural to name their Black theater company after such a world-renowned artist. Ben Guillory was born in Opelousas, Louisiana in 1949, not too long after his family moved to San Francisco, where he would spend his formative years. He was introduced to acting by his older brother at the age of 16, but wouldn't but it wouldn't be till years later that he would find the American Conservative Theater in San Francisco. And that's where he would fall into the never-ending grip of acting. Studying for years and performing the classics such as Julius Caesar, Taming of the Shrew, The Cherry Orchard, Misanthrope, Othello, and many more. Ben is also the instructor for the Roby Theater Company Advanced Scene Study Workshop, which he holds 3 times a year, guiding actors through a process of taking a scene from the page to the stage. This is where I first met Ben Guillory. It was in an audition for the Actors Advanced Scene Study Workshop. We would bring in a scene to perform for him. I brought in a play, which is pretty dark and one I've done before, but it had been about 6 or so months. And as I struggled to get through it, maybe a little bit nerves, he kind of coached me through it and gave me some notes and asked me to, how long have I, when's the last time I've done it? Are you familiar with this play? And, sent me with these instructions and a few more out into the hall and say, come back when you're ready and let's try it again. So he was very patient and forgiving and knowledgeable. And as I came back and did it again, he was like, wow, you took those directions really good. And he was just more than a coach or an educator, but almost like a father figure. This being one of the first Black men to I would know, that had such an extensive knowledge in theater and acting for over 50 years. It was it's really personal to me. I mean, he gave me a note that nobody ever had before in my 20 years of being an actor. He said it was something kind of small but personal to me and stuff that you don't really hear a lot when you're doing a lot of auditions in acting. He said my resume was impressive. A small compliment, but huge in the mind of an actor. It really showed me that his humanity and his attention to details and knowledge of his craft. So, as the producing artistic director, Ben has produced and directed countless celebrated theater productions, including The Piano Lesson, Knock Me a Kiss, The Magnificent Dunbar Hotel, and last year's hits Last Night at McKell's and the Alexander Dumas written The Great Lover, a 19th century play that ran for over 100 years in France. Dumas also authored the famous novels The Three Musketeers, A Man in the Iron Mask, and The Count of Monte Cristo. Dumas was a Black man of Haitian and French descent. Some of Ben's directorial awards include, but are not limited to, 14 nominations and 6 wins from the NAACP 2024 Theater Awards for Men's Favor, Devil's Plan, performed by the Roby Theater in 2022. He also has numerous film and television credits, such as roles in such shows as Dynasty, LA Law, JAG, NCIS, The Color Purple, The Tuskegee Airmen, and Star Wars. Ben Guillory, in the spirit of Paul Robeson, continues to use art to impact the community and spark social action, which shows his desire to mentor the next generation of artists through the theatrical arts. His commitment to support the development of original plays helps to provide a platform for new voices whose impacts will be felt for generations to come. Ben Guillory is a shining example of passion personified. His love for his culture and the theater and the fusing of the two together as a lifelong goal is what makes him worthy of recognition and praise. It's not an easy task keeping a theater going for 20 years. Ben Guillory has kept a Black theater thriving for over 30 years in a town built for film. So I offer these words and flowers for a man whose story is not finished and can never be diminished. Ben Guillory is a bold leader who educates and directs with authority, has the courage to tell unpopular stories, and the knowledge to be impactful and memory. Here's to you, my mentor, friend, and coach, Ben Guillory. Guys, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I yield back to Trey. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you.
Man, I'm I didn't know I was in a Zoom call with so many celebrities, man. This is man, I feel great. I feel like I don't belong here, but I know that I do because you guys are such amazing people. I have people that met Nelson Mandela, Ben Guillory. I didn't know anything about Ben, but now I feel like I know everything. And there's so much of his work that I've seen. I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Man, Kermit, you delivered that so well. I appreciate it, man. And that is a very fly jacket. I like that, man. But coming up next, we have Perry Patrick. Okay, Perry Patrick will be on here speaking of his role model and a little bit of how they've impacted him. And so, yeah, Perry, if you're ready, come on.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Trey, for allowing me and giving me the honor to be something that I think is just a tremendous honor to be part of. To listen to the stories, to listen to the profiles of so many great people is unique in itself. I'm going to talk to you about somebody called that came from Harlem to Hollywood, and I'm very honored because he's my friend, he's my partner, and he's my brother. Only he's from a different mother, but it's okay. When you think of being able to be the youngest African American to host the Apollo Theater, we're talking about an individual by the name of Rudy Rush and the Rush effect. When you think about energy and you think about humor, you think about courage, you think about responsibility, and you think about ownership for talent that God gave him. Because through a child on the streets of Harlem, he learned the hard way, but he paid attention. And he deciphered it as only a child could decipher it, with a talent and a gift from the Lord. And he did so in such a way that it propelled him in an immense uh, vision of carrying that humor, that energy, that enthusiasm of life that he found on the streets of Harlem all the way to Hollywood. And when you think about being a celebrity, or when you think about a child wanting to be a celebrity, how many of us have always dreamed when we were younger, oh, I want to be somebody, or I want to get somewhere, I want to feel belonged. Well, Rudy took it the extra step. He challenged himself, he energized himself, he took ownership of his dreams, ownership that he allowed no one to take away from him, no matter how hard it was, even when he bombed. And so, as Rudy gained the energy and the enthusiasm of life through the Lord and through his faith with his grandmother and his cousin and other things from Harlem, he realized the value of the gift that he had. And he said, I'm going to take it to the top. So, host of the Apollo, wow, think about that. The Apollo Theater. Think about performances and entertainment on stages with Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Steve Harvey, Martin Lawrence. He's been in movies. He's been in entertainment opportunities with these folks. He's been on major projects. He's been the host of McDonald's Apollo Tour. 5 years he was, even in Hawaii and Japan. He hosted the Apollo TV shows, hosted the NPR, the Moth National Tour, and he was host of the legendary The Leatherneck Tour. And so when you think of such an inspiration through the faith of believing in his Lord, believing in his talent, and knowing that that talent needed to be extenuated to anybody and everyone, Rudy wasn't afraid. He believed in his faith. He believed in the talent that was given to him, and he took it to the next level. He's my partner. He's my friend. He's my brother. And there's one thing that I've learned from Rudy is that Christ can use anyone's talent to make miracles happen. Rudy Rush, what an inspiration to myself and to others, and even to this day, he moving mountains. And he's number 6 right now with Mick Hunt in the podcast world. And I believe that there's just nothing but goodness that's coming from this man. And as a veteran, I remember in the foxholes, AFN radio, listening to humor, because that's all we had. A 22 U.S. Army veteran, well decorated, but it was humor, faith, and love of Christ that kept me going. And it's the same thing that keeps Rudy going. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you all for allowing me to be part of something that I think is tremendously valued, and just honored to listen to the many stories of so many great, great folks, including yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Perry. Very well put. Jesus, as you're speaking, as I said before, even when Nikki was speaking, I feel like I'm meeting these people through you guys. And you guys are just being used as vessels. And it's so amazing. Like I'm getting just a piece of the lamp. I'm getting a leaf from the piece of the tree, just from the branch. And it really is amazing. It's uplifting and something that, is sending me, lifting me up and allowing me to have positivity in my eyes too. So thank you so much, Perry. Very well put. Good to hear about and know and learn Rudy. Next up, we're going to have Mr. Willie Tubbs. It is my honor to introduce him. He'll be speaking of his role model. And yeah, so Willie, if you're in here, come on in.
Yes, sir. Everyone, thank y'all for being here. King Trey, thank you for doing a wonderful job hosting this wonderful, wonderful event. Everyone, my name is Willie Tubbs. I am the reset coach. As a result of learning my reset philosophy, you learn how to rescue yourself, lead your children into their greatness, and pursue a career that enables you to live with purpose and passion by telling your story so your great, great, great grandchildren will know your name. I'm like the genie in the bottle. Make 3 wishes and I will deliver. Who do you know that's willing to get outside themselves to become unstoppable to achieve every goal they set for themselves? Everyone, I want to talk about a very special person to me. I want to talk about this man named Dr. Stan Harris. And the way I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna tell his story is through an acronym. This acronym is Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street. And as you can see, I got the t-shirt on. Black Wall Street stands for brilliant leaders assessing clear knowledge with accurate learning languages so that real economic expansion transcends. Oof, I love saying that. Let's start with brilliant leaders. Brilliant leader. Dr. Stan is a brilliant leader. Why? Because finally I found a man that loves acronyms just like me. And as a brilliant leader, you learn how to take a word, and when you say it, it transforms a person's life. And the acronym that I learned from him was DREAM. Everybody has a dream, right? A dream is a divinely revealed event awaiting manifestation. Your dream is waiting for you. When I first heard that, it changed me. I said, I have to follow Dr. Stan Harris. And he gave me some more acronyms like family. Forget about me. I love you. He gave me life. I live in favor every day. And as he always speak in acronyms. Every month he does something with acronyms. And I love that about him because, like I said, as a brilliant leader, you can say a word and it changed the trajectory of a person's life. Okay, brilliant leaders assessing clear knowledge. Let's deal with that. Assessing clear knowledge. Dr. Stan, he teaches in a way that it changes your whole mindset. He teaching principles. One of the principles that he taught me that changed me was if you feel confused, say this to yourself. When I make up in my mind to do something, God would orchestrate circumstances to align themselves in my favor. Whenever I say I can't, my mind stops trying. But when I ask, how can I? My mind keeps searching until it finds a way. There is a way, and I will find it. If not, by the grace of God, I will invent it. When I learned that, I was in a situation that me and Dr. Stan was doing a business transaction, and I didn't have the money at the time. And he said, say that to yourself. Keep saying it. Keep saying it. And listen, y'all, I'm not telling you, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have that much time, but I want you to understand I manifested $17,000 in 24 hours. No lie. So let's get back on the acronym. Brilliant leaders assessing clear knowledge with accurate learning languages. See, uh, um, Dr. Stan Harris' story is an amazing story. He is a great father, and I see myself as him because he didn't have his father in his life. I didn't have my father in my life. And by the way, father is foremost awesome teacher heaven ever released. Come on, somebody. As I see on Facebook and how he posts his children whenever it's their birthdays or his children serves in the military, he honored his kids. And I do the same. Because I finally found someone that I can touch and say, I want to be like him. And I said to myself many times, this is amazing. You know, there's a proverb that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. He appeared for me. Now let's go back on the acronym. Brilliant leader, assessing clear knowledge with accurate learning languages so that real economic expansion transcends. A lot of people believe that economics is all about money. No, in the kingdom, I learned that relationships are the currency of the kingdom. I remember I came to him one time. He said to me, one of these days, Willie, you are going to be leading people and mentoring people just like I'm mentoring you. At that time, I didn't believe it until it actually happened. Then he said, you're going to write your first book. I said, okay. If you believe, he said, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in my faith in you. And as I start to write my book, Parents, It's Time to Reset, How to Rescue Yourself and Lead Your Children into Their Greatness. I remember I was still on my paid internship at the time. I was working graveyard shift, 3 a.m. in the morning. I received a text from Dr. Stan. He said, I just want to let you know I'm praying for you. I want to let you know that I'm here for you. And that blew my mind. And when he continues to show love, it was times when I was down and out. I didn't want to speak to nobody. He kept calling me. He knew something was up because this is not Willie. He doesn't act like this. He doesn't answer my phone calls, but he didn't know I was having a breakdown. And when I answered the phone, he said, I just want to let you know I love you. So I'm here to elevate Dr. Stan Harris for being my friend, for being a father figure to me, and showing me the way. Every time I write a book, I'm on my 6th book right now. I literally, in the dedication, he's one of those people that I give thanks to. Because when a man comes in your life, when a person comes in your life, or when a woman comes in your life, you realize that you just don't sit and just take from the individual. You have to give. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm here to give. Dr. Stan Harris, you changed my life in so many ways. Dr. Stan Harris, thank you for being that role model. And Dr. Stan Harris, as you listen to this, I know you're going to watch the replay or you're watching it right now. Thank you for doing what God told you to do. That's the end of my speech. I'm going to give it back up to King Trey. Once again, thank y'all for a wonderful time.
No, Willie, thank you. Thank you. You are a deliverer. You are a communicator. You did a great job with that. Same thing as before. I feel like I met Dr. Stan Harris. I feel like we're all, although it's virtual, I feel like we're all just kind of sitting in a room, making eye contact with each other, having these conversations. And that's just so powerful, man. The moment you said that dream acronym, I had to whip my phone out and write that down so fast. Divinely revealed event awaiting manifestation. I also love acronyms because it gives the definition of the word within the word. And it's just beautiful. And it's something that, it honestly is something so powerful and just so moving when you think about it. So thank you so much, Mr. Willie. It actually was an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much. Did a great job. All right, next up, okay, I have the honor of introducing my dear friend Darius Richmond. He'll speak about who his honor or who his role model will be. He'll bring it home, bring it up the rear, be the anchor, and then we'll have a conclusion after him. Darius, here you go, man.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? First of all, just thank you for this opportunity to come and kind of speak to you guys just about an individual who has had an impact on my life and has truly not just changed my life, but I'm sure has changed the life of many other people, even if he didn't realize it or not. So the individual that I'm going to be introducing today is Virgil Abloh. And if you're not familiar with Virgil Abloh, he was a big name in the fashion, music, and most of all, this overarching creative space. He was originally from Rockford, Illinois, where he actually was from immigrant parents, and his parents, trained him and taught him to go to school to, be something, to have like a consistent job and earn a consistent salary. And so he actually did that. He went to school to be an engineer, where he actually did get an engineering degree. But it was during this time when he was in college that he actually started to kind of break outside the box that he was in. Not saying it was a bad box or anything, but you can tell that he was an individual that just knew that there was more, that there was more of a purpose in his life than to just kind of drift and just kind of just, be amongst everyone else just doing the same thing. And so what Virgil did was his biggest thing that a lot of people know him for, I wouldn't say honestly the biggest thing, but he actually did a lot of work with Kanye initially. So he worked with Kanye West to help him develop like his style and his brand. He was a big key element in Kanye's like fashion and his creativity when it comes to like his brand art and other things like that. And he worked with Kanye to develop a couple brands that actually never got released. And he actually he developed the cover art that Kanye used um, for a lot of his albums. And so him and Kanye actually ended up going to Paris to actually work for, I believe it was Louis Vuitton. And it was actually where in Louis Vuitton where Virgil actually kind of really made a really big stamp as um, he became the first black artistic director for Louis Vuitton. And so that was a big thing, not just for, us as African Americans, but also just the fashion industry as a whole because that was something that had never been done before. And he brought a new flavor to it. And he started to just truly develop this. I don't know necessarily how to explain it, but just this African American influence into the fashion space and not just this high preppy, high fashion. He kind of merged the two. And he brought in the streetwear to merge into bigger brands like Nike, where you see the Nikes, where he actually they partnered with his brand, which was Off-White. That's what a lot of people know Virgil as also is the creator of Off-White. Some people know him as the founder, some people don't, but that was his brand. He actually started a brand before that called Pyrex, but that was a kind of a big ordeal where he actually had to kind of stop just, in terms of legal things because we all know Pyrex, the glass brand and everything, but he didn't let that stop him. And he also just kind of really took this this industry. He took this arena, this domain of creativity, not just fashion, not just music, but just branding as a whole. And he really just kind of changed the way we look at it. A big like philosophy that he had was the 3% philosophy was or the 3% rule. Basically, where you take something that has already been done and you change it 3% to make it your own. And that was something that you can see that he did a lot of. He took clothing that was used from bigger brands like maybe Polo or other things like that, and he slapped his own brand on there. Not to try to like bite off of them, but to kind of make a statement, I guess you could say. And just kind of because at that time, Polo and the Ralph Lauren's and all them bigger brands were kind of just stuck to one, I guess you can call it like um, this one people group. And so he kind of took that and he kind of merged it and kind of broke that barrier between everyone and just the fashion space as well. And he kind of, that wasn't necessarily probably his clear intent, but he definitely had an integral part in that. And he made an impact on me just because the way he went about his career and the way he went about being creative and just doing it with a purpose and just truly not, letting all these, roadblocks or, opinions of others maybe stop him from doing something that he truly wanted to achieve, that he truly felt passionate about. That impacted me in a way that kind of encourages me to not let those same things slow me down or to hinder me, but to even use them as, you know, climbing blocks to propel me forward. And that was something that he really did a great job of. And unfortunately, he did pass away for a few years ago. So rest in peace to him. But, his legacy will definitely live forever on. And so I guess from just Virgil and his story as a whole, I guess the biggest thing I take from it is whatever you do, just do it with purpose. Don't just let other people's opinions, don't let these things that may come your way or just the way life goes cause you to kind of just drift and to just kind of be bumped around and pushed around by these things going on. We have a calling to make this life purposeful. I believe that we're called by the Lord above to do that, not just personally, but in the things that we do. And so that was something that I truly just took away from Virgil and his story and everything that he did. And that's why he had a big influence on me as an individual, as a creative myself. I definitely use the 3% rule as an element and a principle that I refer to my own life, and just the intentionality and the way that he went about things really was an inspiration to me as well. So. I really
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the time.
Yeah. Thank you, Darius. The part that stuck me as I was listening, I was like, and I've fallen to this time before, but um, when you were talking, I was like, this person seems like they weren't worried about other people's opinions. Seems like there was only one opinion that really valued to them, and that was their own. But that wasn't their own opinion. It was through. It was being spoken through. And just that idea that you don't have to fit in, right? You can be the bridge. You can bring those two things together. The way he brought creativity and fashion together, and just that way of being so versatile. That way of being so versatile kind of actually transitions me straight into my next point. So if everybody will turn their cameras back on and I just invite you guys back in here, all of our speakers here, just really just for a time of closing remarks, questions. If you guys are currently pursuing something and there's any way that we can help, just as something that, just open the floor and say, look, this is our gathering. This is what this all is about. This unity and this fellowship, it's important. And so being here on this call, just don't let it pass you by. Just don't let it pass you by. And before we get into anybody else, the last thing I'll say is I just want everybody to see um, the like I said, versatility in a way, but the spread of everyone that has spoken. I mean, we had someone in fashion, we had someone who is in government, we had someone who's in sports, we had someone who's in comedy, we had someone who's in theater, right? So just to serve that, show that diversity of not only the people that we're speaking of, but the people that those people have impacted. It just really just comes to show how powerful we are together and how much unity it really is our strength and our superpower. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to be your host. And then without further ado, I'll open the floor. If anybody else has any remarks or questions for one another, each other, whatever that looks like, you guys are more than welcome to ask them now. Unmute yourself and ask them now.
Well, I have a comment. When I first looked at this, I thought, hey, I'm a white woman. What am I doing talking on Black leaders? But you know what? We so often don't receive what God has for us. because we prejudge the source. And if that's one thing I learned from Nelson Mandela all those years ago was receive what God is putting in front of you and just absorb it. And then I sit here listening to all these amazing people speaking and the amazing people they're speaking about. And I think, wow, look what God's done in me, that I am in this place. I may be a small fish in a big pond, but it's because I get to connect with bigger fish so that I can be big. And just because I feel led to share it, God dropped an acronym on me yesterday, and it's a big one, especially for us busy people who are running around. And that was an acronym for rest. Rest it's not a physical posture, it's a heart and mental posture. Restoring every spiritual truth. And I haven't shared that anywhere else publicly. So take it because it changes our concept of rest. And seeing as, Willie, you were carrying on about acronyms, I thought I had to throw that in there.
Well, I want to say thank you to everybody for allowing me to be part of something. And I'm learning every day the power that's among all of us, whether it's through cultural shifts or whatever. It's just so energizing. As the business partner of Rudy, one of the things that I learned, and I put it on the notes, is Rudy taught me that life is supposed to be lived with energy. Laughter is supposed to remind you that even in the struggle, you are still alive, still capable, still moving. So motivate with humor, folks. Strengthen with ownership, energize with optimism, and keep the faith. And you will go as far as the Lord will take you, and he will take you to new heights. Rudy and I are developing a faith-based program of comedy. It's a unique new bread, and we're obviously saying many prayers, and so we look for anybody that would like to participate in that. Give us a hand on that. We're all for it. Thank you very much.
Trey, I just want to say you did a brilliant job as a host, and what a great group of speakers. And this is what the vision of the Smile Channel is about, is bringing leaders together and speaking about inspiration. And there's nothing more important than leadership. So Trey, I just really appreciate what you did today with your group. Thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. It was an absolute
Thanks,
pleasure.
Trey. Great job.
Great job. I want to put something out there real quick. I just had a new release of my newest book, and I just wanted some reviews. And the name of the book is called Everything Can Be Fixed in 2026.
All right. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna put my number in here. I help people get reviews, and we have a program for that.
Okay,
And,
awesome.
And it's a reciprocation program. So you want 100 reviews, you get 100 reviews. Coach Zeke is one of our new members of the Authorthon. But the Authorthon is just people collaborating and reciprocating, much like we're doing today. We're doing it with our thoughts, we're doing it with our hearts, and we're doing it with our tribes. Because if every one of you share this with 100 to 500 people, look at the voices that are getting out there. So thanks for asking that, Willie. And we do want to support you as an author. We want to support every single leader on here as an author or a speaker, however we can do it.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah,
I look forward to connecting you
feedback.
guys. That's my number there. Please connect if you'd like.
Willie,
Awesome.
that's awesome, Willie. And how many books you got now?
This is my sixth book. My sixth book.
Keep
And
going, because I've just finished my 45th.
whoa.
So keep going.
Well, we should trade some books. We should trade some books. I know Zeke has a book he'd like to trade. So why don't you connect and give me your addresses, and I'd like to send you my books and you send me yours. And then we have something called an authorthon. Trey, are you an author by chance?
Not yet, but might be speaking into existence if you're prophetic.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, I was watching how you answered, and you answered like a true leader. Not yet.
Right. Yes, sir.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah, sure.
For anybody that wants the book, all you had to do, everything can be fixed in 2026.com. I made it into a flip book, and I got the audio that goes with it, so it flips the pages.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
And you'll flip when you hear it. That's what you're supposed to say at the end. You'll flip when you hear it.
Yeah, I just want to thank Dr. Smiley, Dr. Ken over here again. for creating this type of platform. Honestly, in a world where, you know, there's so much negative to talk about, you know, it's really good to be in a place where you get to have this, you know, and realize that, you know, there's it's not just you trying to change the world, right? Like you're doing it with everybody. So we're all kind of like different sides of the same coin. And I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to, you know, even just energetically tap into this, you know, because it gives inspiration for what I want to do next. And, there's a ripple effect to that. So I want to thank Dr. Ken for that, number one. And number two, just like encourage everybody to just, love each other. You know, that's like my thing. I am the love guy, you know, so I believe that all problems in this world can be fixed with love, quite literally. Not even just as an ethereal thought, but more as a strategy. And so that kind of brings me to my two books that'll be dropping this year. First one is called The Love Framework, which that book is really just meant to target business and politics and leadership, and getting them to understand how to infuse love as an actual strategy in their businesses to promote literal progress in their business, whether it be ROI, whether it be in their businesses or organizational structures, and so on and so forth. So that's the first one. The second one's called The Many Great Loves of Superman. In that book, I have the book separated into love letters. Everyone who I've ever loved has a chapter devoted to them in the book, talking about how the love that I shared with them made me the man I am today and the lessons I learned from it. And then I have love lessons in there, which are really just concept chapters on helping people to remember how to love, and not this nonsense that the world has tried to tell us what love is, and kind of restore what love really is to people. So my ask would be just keep an eye out for those books, because the more people who are exposed to this, I think we can change this world. It seems sometimes very frustrating and hopeless, but just this alone gives the hope that we can do that. So the more people who know that and are exposed, the quicker we can change this world for ourselves and those coming after us. So, and I'm grateful to all of you guys.
So thank the person who invited you to this program, and of course, pay it forward by bringing other people to speak as well. And Kermit, good to see you, and I look forward to all the new friendships here. Have a great day.
Would like to just say that the Rush Effect book just came on out 3 weeks ago. The Rush Effect book just came out 3 weeks ago, so we're excited.
Cool.
But again, thank you, Doctor, for allowing this platform to come together, and it's just amazing to see so many positive people and at the height of doing something so great and powerful.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.
Have a great day. Take care.